All right, so for day 3, we are at the Carolina Tiger Rescue out near Pittsburgh, Moncure, North Carolina. I haven't been here in a number of years, probably close to 20. But yeah, so we're going to take a little video through it this time.
Sort of safety summary. And we're really all about safety here. In 50 years, I will tell you the biggest thing that's ever happened was a little ocelot got out and got to the top of her enclosure and got really, she'd been born here. And you know, an ocelot's not much bigger than a house cat. She got to the top of it and said, uh-oh, and just clung to the top of her enclosure till they could woo her back in. One thing I do want to say as far as safety goes, no running. What do you think would happen if a tiger sees a little person running? Yeah. Yeah, gonna chase it, gonna think it's prey. Is camouflaged, but they are incredibly hard to see sometimes. So I will ask you to be on the lookout too for a big 300 plus pound guy named Samar. We have 18. Most are not, many are not on tour. And I'll talk about that in a minute. There he comes. Him's not camouflaged. Him not camouflaged. Hi, Samar. Hi, buddy. Hi, Samar. This is Samar, who kind of likes to moo. He kind of likes to make a cow noise. I will warn you right now, if Samar turns around and shows you his rear end, back off and to the side, because Samar likes to spray. And he's a pretty good shot, and it goes about 8 to 10 feet. So it easily reaches out here. He's 9 years old. He came to us from a place in Oklahoma called Tiger King Ranch. Usually at that point, I hear some moans and groans. Yeah, the Tiger King Ranch was closed down due to maltreatment of animals. But Tiger King Ranch had probably 68, 70 animals. And when it was shut down, we were able to get 4 tigers. Anyway, we got 3 of the animals. One of the animals was kind of sick, and she did not live long after she came. But we got 3 who are all doing quite well, and Samar is one of them. And you may say, why is Samar staring at the black curtain? On that side, there are some lions who like to kind of talk a lot. And so they'll get going and Samar will get going back with them. So he's trying to figure out what's going on. The other thing is that Samar just heard a truck. And a truck means food. And so he gets extremely interested when he hears the sound of a truck. So he is at the gate. He is wanting to eat. And he's not fed through the gate. He's fed through that tube there, that white tube, which we drop the food down there. Now, if we have a big chunk of something, because mostly they eat a lot of chicken and turkey because it's affordable. If a hunter has a deer and he has no room in his freezer or something, they'll donate it to us. Sometimes if a person hits a deer, or one time a lady called somebody hit a deer in front of her house and she saw it happen. So we were able to go get the deer and then feed it out to them. Right now, there's a disease called chronic wasting disease. And because of that, we're only feeding the legs of the deer because it affects their brains and their torsos, and their organs. So we're not messing too much with that. Also, if somebody has a cow or a horse, or we've had llamas, we've had alpacas, who is getting old and is going to have to be put down by the vet, our veterinarian will do that in a safe way so that it can be fed out to the animals. When they get something like a deer, a cow leg, a horse leg, llama leg, they are in hog heaven because that's a lot more like the food they would get in the wild. So, and they get kind of tired of chicken, as we all probably do. Anyway, but it's normally the food's fed through that, but occasionally we'll have to throw something over the fence to get in there to them because no one ever goes in except for the vet. And that's when the animals are sedated. So nobody goes in to touch them in any way unless it's a medical procedure. So we're trying to let them live sort of the wildlife. You can come around and look him in the face. He's got a beautiful face. They're not that successful as hunters. They're about 10% successful. So for every attack, they get like every 10 attacks, they might get one animal. So their stomachs are built to have keep my eyes peeled for our cougar. Yes, we will put a male and female in the same cage if one of them has been altered. And they came to us this way. She had already been spayed when they came to us. And the reason they came to us is that about 12 years ago in Ohio, there was a guy in Zanesville, Ohio, who had a farm right outside of town. And one day, and he had 56 wild and exotic animals on his farm in cages. One day, he went out and opened all the doors to all the cages and let everybody out. Generally, in lions, the males are bigger than the females. In this case, if you look, she's the big one. Yeah, Roman is the smaller of the two. Also, Reina is probably the boss in the family. And it's real interesting because I've read some stuff on lions over the years. And normally the male, who does most of the hunting? The females. Who gets to eat first usually? The males. Okay. Who does the cub rearing? The females. So what do Roman and his guys do? Hang out. They protect. Yeah, if you're here in the evenings, you will hear Roman walking around oofing. He'll do this oof, 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 which is really loud, and it tells all the other lions around, of which there are none other than Reina, that this is his territory. And in the wild, they do the same thing. So he patrols, and he will patrol at night. He will walk around the whole perimeter of this many times just to make sure nobody's breaking in. So he does that. Male lions, when I was a kid, I said, oh man, I want to be a male lion, because a male lion, man, what a life. They bring you your food, you get to eat first, you get to lay around a lot. Sounds cool. Male lions on average live 2 years less than females because of the stress of having to get in fights and patrol. They are, and also the little boy lions, the 2-year-olds, when they get to be a little bit like adolescent lions, mom turns them out. Mom says, you're out, get out of here, go out on your own. And they go out, and all this time, mom's been doing the hunting. Mom's been taking care of them. So they get out there and they're like, what do I do now? And so they wander around pretty pathetically for a couple of years till they get stronger and they figure out how to hunt and stuff like that. Then eventually, usually one comes back, challenges his father or his uncle, and loses because they don't know how to fight yet. But if they keep coming back, eventually they will take over the pride. So this is just a little pride of 2. A pride can be 2. A pride can also be 42. So
Do you feed the tigers and lions at the same time?
we feed
Or same
everybody.
frequency?
We change the days up a little bit. And when we change the days, what we do is we don't make it very predictable. Because, if you have a dog or a cat, my dogs go, 6 o'clock, where's the food? And cats do the same thing. So these guys will do the same thing. So we want to keep life a little bit unpredictable for them. And but they do fast 2 days a week. Thing I had never seen anything like that. Oh, look. What a gentleman. Yes. She hears or sees something up there. I wonder what she's alerting to. See how alert she is?
That tail switching.
I will tell you something she's quite good at, which maybe is what she's alerting to. She's really good at hunting and catching vultures. She has caught 3 in a day that I've seen. Oh, look. Oh, he's licking her. And now, what is he doing? That's really weird, Roman. She says, I'm not weird.
Get it,
This
Roman.
is my friend. Oh, this is really cool. That is really neat. As you can see, lions are the only social large cats. These are servals. And servals are obviously small cats. And check out their ears, though, for the size of their head. Their ears are huge. I mean, if my ears were that big, I'd look like I had 2 saucers hanging off the side of my head. They're great. Their hearing is great, which you would gather from those ears. They can hear a mouse underground and catch it when it comes up. And they also can hear snakes slithering through the grass. And their favorite foods are rodents and snakes. So do you think farmers like them? Yeah, because you want somebody to come and eat all the rats and the snakes. Yeah, the farmers actually like these guys a lot. They're from sub-Saharan Africa. And remember I talked about the long legs? They're kind of sitting down now, so you can't see those long legs. They have very long legs. They also have a paw strike that's like a 60th of a second, which is 3 times faster than the blink of an eye. So in other words, if one decided to hit you in the face, they could do it 3 times in the blink of one eye, which to me says these would not make good pets. They're beautiful cats. People think, oh, they're beautiful. They're smallish. They could be a pet. These are not good pets. When they get to be adolescents, they want out of your house. They do not want to be anywhere near your house. And they will spray your house down. And they will make lots of noises. And your neighbors will kick you out. And then they'll scratch you. And unfortunately, there is a big pet trade in them now. It's what's called the small cat crisis, because in December of last year, Congress passed the Big Cat Safety Act. So instead of just Superman, she could be a starfish. And I don't know the reason for that, but they have very limber shoulders and hips. And if you think about their native territory, their native range, it is in the highland Rocky Mountains of New Guinea, where they're probably, and when they all came to us, they were on witness protection for 2 years. Because a lot of times when there is a seizure of animals, the person who thinks they own them, I don't think animals are really owned, but that's my opinion. They file a lawsuit. So we had to keep these guys kind of safe and quiet and tucked away. Well, how tucked away can that be? And she's also quite social. So we had her up there in one of the enclosures up there, and it was like, okay, guests, you do not see the big white tiger walking beside you. Yeah, it was really hard for the time they were in witness protection. Fortunately, all that was settled, and she was able to come to live with us forever. So this is her forever home. We're gonna go see her in a minute. Her name is Shayla. This is Kitwana. Kitwana is a caracal. And caracal means black ears in Turkish. And good name, because he does have black ears and they're very pointy. And a lot of people guess what do you think would be the reason for the tufts on his ears?
Ventilation.
Maybe ventilation. Although I don't know. Huh?
Bait,
I think you hit it. Bait. Okay. Now, these guys have a lot of the same territory as, or range, I should say range, not territory, range as servals. Remember I told you servals were from sub-Saharan Africa? These are guys range over as far as India and through the Middle East and sub-Saharan Africa. And so they overlap servals a lot, which kind of means it would be good if they didn't eat the same thing. So since servals eat snakes and rats, what do you think these guys eat? Birds. Got it. So if they eat birds and you said bait, those little tufts on the ears kind of look like little caterpillars or little flies. Think of fly fishing. So they're fly fishing for birds. And they are really fun to see. They're very hard to see hunting, but one of these guys can leap up in the air and catch a bird in each paw. And I actually got to see this once. And I was bird watching. I was in Africa bird watching. And I was looking at some guinea fowl who are on the ground, you know, poking around. Like guinea fowl are like chickens. They just poke around on the ground. All of a sudden they flushed up in the air. Right after them came a caracal and got a guinea fowl in each paw. It was so cool. So, and when they don't find enough birds and food is short, they can actually take down an antelope. Look at the hind legs on that dude. He is strong. He can jump. He can actually jump like 12 feet. And so when he takes down an antelope, he jumps up in its face and he'll attack its face. He went over here for a minute. Grabs its throat and also hits its eyes.
eyes.
Yeah, it goes for the antelope's eyes. Because if the antelope is blinded, it won't know where to run very well. Yeah. So they can actually take down an antelope, which goes back to this thing, would they make a good pet? No, I don't think so. I don't want something that can take down an antelope walking around my living room. These guys came from the same place as the three girls you saw a little while ago. And they they were part of a breeding facility. And somebody was breeding them for the pet trade. And they weren't doing very well. In fact, they were living in little boarded up travel trailers and having to walk in their own excrement. And they had burns on their feet. They were in bad shape. But they got to come here. And we got 3 boys and 4 girls. They're all rock stars. Yeah. They're all rock stars. We even have another one over another part of the sanctuary named Elvis.
Oh yes.
Elvis has been here a long time. We are part of a federation of animal sanctuaries, but also part of a network of sanctuaries so that if an animal needs a home, we all work together. We will never take, it's a big decision because once we take an animal, we have to guarantee that lifetime support. We won't take somebody just out of the goodness of our hearts because it will end up not being the goodness of our hearts. So yeah, it's a very difficult decision, but if there's space, if there's money, and this is a good fit. Yeah, she was also from the Tiger King Ranch. And if you notice, she's a little stiff. She walks like she's got a little arthritis. She probably does, because most white tigers have a lot of issues. In fact, in white tigers, only about 1 out of 30 lives past 2 years old. And it's because they're not albino. They carry a recessive trait that keeps them from making the orange pigment. But it also has a lot of other things, cascading effects. One of them being neurological problems. Many white tigers are born blind. Others have seizures. Others have a cleft palate. And so all of those guys, usually, if they were in the wild, they would die right away. Most white tigers who are born in captivity don't survive either. All the white tigers in the United States have descended from a single parent. Now you go, wait a minute. How's that work? How's that work? Somebody brought a white tiger, a male, over from India because they're in part of the Bengal subspecies. And they brought a white tiger over, thought, I'm going to breed this white tiger and get me some more white tigers and make a big bunch of money because it's always about money, right? And I'm going to get some more white tigers. So he brought it over. He had an orange tiger. He crossed them. What did he get? Orange tigers. Tried again. Orange tigers. So he got the wise idea. I'm going to mate him with his daughter or granddaughter. And he started to get white tigers. Is, I think, 12, 13, maybe. I got to double check his age. I always forget. He's getting older. Yep, he is 13. And so we had another female who had been raised with other females, and she had been separated from them because they picked on her. And so we put them in side-by-side enclosures with just a fence in between to see what would happen. Were they showing aggression? Were they showing fear, anxiety? They seemed totally comfortable. So after about 6 or 8 months of that, they were put together. But for a white tiger, he won the genetic lottery. He really did, because the biggest issue he has is those big crossed eyes. He's alert. He doesn't have the kind of level of arthritis that even Shayla has. The bad thing is, though, and let me show you this. He was bred and part of a magician's act. And somebody got the wise idea that somehow he would be less dangerous if they filed down his teeth. So those dots on his teeth, those are the nerves. When I met him, his teeth were still like that. And I mean, I can't imagine the constant pain he was in. Fortunately, a group of veterinary dentists who worked voluntarily came and gave him root canals. So he had root canals. Same with the whole apparatus and all. It's just a lot bigger. They put in his mouth and they gave him root canals. I don't think he got crowns. But they don't really need those teeth to eat. Those teeth are for grabbing. Since he doesn't have to hunt for his living, he does just fine eating and chewing without them. But now he's not in pain. His little Bowie. Little Bowie. Servals are so hard to tell apart. I sometimes have to do it just by their noses. And so if they notice I'm looking at their faces, yeah, she got into the catnip, or is she taking a cat nap? I said, well, she and her former roommate, India, who's back off on her own now, used to live with Capriccio. And they were all born at a place in Colorado that raised them for cub petting, which what happens is they take the babies away from their mamas at about 2 days old. 2 days. So they give them a formula. And in some cases, it doesn't have a bad effect. In Capriccio's case, it did. It wasn't the nutrition he needed. His legs developed really severe bends, kind of like rickets in humans. It was called metabolic bone disease. He's been living here since he was very young. He's getting blind now. But, you think, oh man, that's really terrible. Well, most cats don't rely on vision. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, bobcats belong in the wild, and they are perfectly. Guys, would you please wait? I mean, if you need to sit down or something, but please don't go ahead. So there are bobcats in the wild around here, and they're all over the place. And in fact, when I first came here, Talon would call to a wild bobcat down at the river. At night, you'd hear him calling. And when a bobcat calls you, it sounds like a screaming woman. What he's doing, he's about to sneeze. Look, isn't he pretty?
I know you don't breed your animals here, but do have the liberty to volunteer them for breeding?
No, because most of the time they've already been neutered or spayed, and then also because we don't know their genetics, most people would not even want them. That's why we get them. In fact, like the big zoos, we've gotten animals that the zoos don't want, like even the lions. North Carolina Zoo has an Africa exhibit. If somebody has a lion to give up, they don't want it unless they know its genetics and they know its history. So that's how we even have lions. Look at him cleaning his feet. That tongue, people go, wow, he's cleaning his feet. That tongue is like the roughest sandpaper you can imagine. It's kind of like a metal file. He can rub his tongue on an animal bone and take off the meat. So he's got a thick, very rough tongue, just like a cat tongue, but giant. So he's cleaning his feet off right now.
All right, so that was day 3, but posting on day 4 of Vlogmas. If you do like the Carolina Tiger Rescue, I put the link to their page in the description below. You can get tickets, you can do a tour, you can volunteer, or you can just donate. Again, it is just an animal sanctuary for cats, mostly big cats. Yeah, they make sure that animals are able to be taken care of as they need. They're not bred, they're not handled or anything of that nature. They're just living their life. Yeah, please donate if you have the means and if it's something that you feel strongly about. But otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow.